G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do. Well, welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are in California today and we are in San Jose, which is Silicon Valley, the home of Facebook, Google, YouTube, just about everybody you can think of. But we are in the studio of a very talented lady, Liane Hamilton. Liane, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
it's wonderful to be here. Now, Liane actually originally came from South Africa about 23 years ago, is that correct?
Yeah.
And Durban was your hometown. I love South Africa. It's just beautiful, just amazing place. But one of the big influences that you said to me, as far as your art journey is concerned, was the relationship you had with your family, particularly your grandfather and your grandmother as well.
Yeah,
and a lot of the stories and a lot of the work that you sort of produce these days came partly or about because of that relationship with those people.
Right.
And I looked at some of the photos that you had of the paths walking down, and tell me a little bit about how that all came about.
Yeah, at around the time that my grandfather passed, quite a few years ago, I painted the painting of the reservoirs. And the reason why I painted that was because we as children always used to accompany him up to the reservoir, which was a very steep mountain. I'm sure you've got pictures that we could share.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, like vertical climb, and right up until he was in his late 90s, 97.
Yeah.
And check the reservoir, he'd tap on there that there's all enough water, and we'd trek all the way down. And it was that up and down every day, and so I just imagine him always being there.
That's fantastic.
In that space, yeah.
And then 23 years ago, moved to California, and your life is basically in America these days.
Yeah, raise my kids here.
Yeah.
This is where I belong.
And colourful work, I mean, it's really dynamic. There obviously is a history of your family and the emotions that pertain to that within your work, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But we're going to be working on a piece today, and I love these pieces that Liane does, and they are of sort of domesticity, I suppose, in many senses, and florals, and tea time. You call them tea time, don't you?
Tea time series, yeah.
Yeah,
So the
tea
connection
time
between people for a moment.
Yeah, and that was very much part of your life as a child as well.
Yeah. Also on the farm with my grandmother, having a morning and afternoon tea and the formality of it. A little bit of gossip and chat, and I just wanted to connection with family. So I just wanted to recreate some of those moments in my modern, more contemporary life with my more casual lifestyle.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the great fears, one of the things that we love and one of the things that we fear as artists is the blank canvas. But we're going to start on this today. We've got a couple of different processes that we're going to go through to show you guys how Liane does what she does. They're really fantastically beautiful, bright paintings. I'm going to step out of the picture. You're going to show us a technique that you use with black gesso, is that correct?
Yeah. So I'll be drawing with black gesso. First with a little bit of charcoal, just to lay it out, because the black gesso is very unforgiving. I can't remove it. And then I'll be priming in oil paint and painting.
Excellent, great.
With you.
I'll step out of the picture.
Okay. So I'm going to start off by using a bit of charcoal, because charcoal dissolves in the oil paint, so it's just going to disappear, just so that I don't make any unforgiving marks with the black gesso right off the bat. So just to make sure I put things in roughly the right place, using my reference material that I set up in my dining room, and then I'm just going to add in things that I want and change the composition a little bit. So here I am at the blank canvas, probably the craziest stage. And just trying to figure out where I'm going to put the main sunflowers here. There. So this is not like an accurate drawing, this is just location. I'm just marking the positions that I need here. The handle. And I have that there. Handle on there. I'm going to put this glass here because I'm thinking of calling this cheers to that.
So in the process of putting your different styles together, you have the landscape and the skies that you do, and another series called Abundance.
Yeah.
And then the one that we're working on at the moment, which is a series called Tea Time.
Yes.
Now, is there an artist or a specific group of artists that's influenced you over the time of your work?
Not really. I find that I draw on myself mostly. So my experiences and a lot of my childhood and good memories and things that are happening to me now. Definitely I'm aware of other artists and their work, but even when I attend workshops, I come back and I go back to my own style. So I'm very much expressing myself here. But I'm not stressing about the little imperfections. I feel if I relax and let those little imperfections come through, it gives off that relaxation instead of an anxiety of trying to get it right. It's just more joyful and more exuberant. All right, so the next step is for me to put in the black gesso. So I use the Liquitex black gesso in my drawing quickly. It dries really quickly, which is very handy, and I can move on with my oil painting right on top. So oil painting can go on top of this. So having the charcoal line drawing there before just helps me have a more confident gesso line. Of course, here with the sunflowers, I'm really going to have to do leaf by leaf, petal by petal.
And you find that, say, a bristle brush is the best thing to use for that?
It's really thick and chunky and kind of hairy, so that's it leaves a uneven and unpredictable line, which I kind of like. It adds to the playfulness. It's not a tight, perfect line. And the line doesn't need to be solid, it can break. All these things get covered over in a priming, so the color of this black actually changes. I think I'm going to be priming this in a blue. I really do like a teal blue at the moment. It's one of my favorites, the color of my t-shirt.
So the paints that you use,
yeah.
What brand are they?
Gamblin, I use Gamblin. They're located here in Oregon, and they try and be more earth friendly. It's a really good quality oil paint. It's the really color dense. When I mix it, it retains its color. Yeah, so I really enjoy that. And the mediums, I'm really fond of the safflower oil because it helps reduce the amount of turpentine that I have to use. Mm-hmm. These petals are really the life of this painting, so I've really got to get them about right.
You've got your style's very loose, but it's very directed as well.
Yeah.
You know exactly where you're going with it.
Yeah, well, I did have that charcoal. Here, getting a really dark value in there, mm-hmm. It helps me just to establish my darkest dark. Here, and now we get to the other sunflower, which I feel will probably be around here. So, once we have these three big sunflowers in this painting, we'll really have direction. And a lot of it is just realizing you can't really make a mistake.
So you've got two websites.
Yeah, so I have my print website, which is leannehamiltonart.com. That sells prints and the original, so it's everything that's available for sale. And then I have leannehamilton.com, which is really just my portfolio, so it's more of everything that I have produced. Probably have this area here as the shadow part of my jug. And then probably a shadow in there. I want to establish where the darkest part of these shadows are, exaggerate them a little if the light's coming from there.
I know that you do workshops as well and teach, mm-hmm. And your work's just fun. I mean, I think if anybody's in the Silicon Valley area, San Francisco, they can definitely come down and see you about the workshops. And they can do that at leannehamilton.com. They can come in there and get in touch with you, give you a call, send you an email, but you've got a fun space here in San Jose and lots of fun paintings, so I think it'd be great to spend some time with you as well.
So I've got those charcoal drawing lines, but I didn't follow them.
And we've got another piece that you've got here called Papaya for You.
Yeah.
I think they call those pawpaws where we come from, or where
yes,
I come
pawpaws,
from.
Yes,
pawpaws. So I'm not sure if they call them pawpaws in Africa as well.
Yes, we have pawpaws.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very dynamic.
So as soon as this is dried, I just prime this over in blue. I'm going to use the blue of my t-shirt. So it's a teal blue, which is just, my favorite color right now. Another favorite is the cad red light. I've done a lot with primed and cad red light. I'm just going to prime it, and then I'm still going to have the drawing there, and I'm going to paint it. I have the alizarin and the cad red deep. So I have the warm cad red deep and the cold alizarin, which has got a little more, it's just a colder color in comparison. You can see it when they're put together. Then right in the middle I have my cad red light, which is one of my favorite colors, the orange. It stands alone, there is nothing but cad red light. Then the yellows, I have the cad yellow medium and light, or cad lemon. So the lemon is much cooler than the cad yellow medium. So these two, if I'm trying to do one object, I would use the cooler one on in the shadow or on the lighter side. Okay, and then here we have the blues. We have the ultramarine blue is my cold blue. It's very dark and it's just very cold. And then the warm, where the sunlight would hit water, or that sort of look. I have the cerulean blue and the cobalt teal. This is the cobalt teal, the color of my t-shirt, and the cerulean blue. I've also thrown in a purple and a green. I'm not very fond of the viridian, but I put it in there just to give me something to work with. But I can mix from these primaries just fine. And then a violet. A brown, a burnt sienna to mute things down a little if I want to tone down the intensity of the color, and of course my white. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the cerulean blue. I'm actually just going to take that, and I'm going to be priming in that, give it a wash with some turpentine. I've picked out a really big brush, and I'm going to get this nice and thin, so that it can dry quickly and we can move on with the painting.
And it's only that colour that you're putting on, you're not mixing with anything else?
No, I'm just taking it straight.
Yeah, there's, you've got a couple of the Tea Time series ones with juicy melons.
Yes.
It's a fairly seductive title in the first place, but still. But, and then also Tea Time with mandarins. I mean, there was obviously a lot of tea time going on in Africa at some stage.
There was a lot of tea time in Africa, I'm telling you. Every morning, every afternoon.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, tell me a little bit more about the Abundance series. I mean, you hadn't been into the water, but then you've developed this series of fish and kelp. Very bright, colourful scenes as well. I think they look fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
What's the motivation behind that?
My first art class when I was 4 was, up in the city hall. I was dropped off at the bottom. I was 4, I was really excited. I was told, be good. And I went up the elevator and I arrived in this big room with tons of art supplies for little kids. And we were shown some pictures and we discussed all the things that could be under the ocean. Of course, none of us had been under the ocean or I hadn't been to an aquarium. And we were just to imagine anything we want that could be in these big ocean scenes and draw them, and that spark of imagination, being given the permission to imagine, was just wonderful. For a small child, it was one of the most magical moments of my childhood, and I've never let go of that. I always try and tap into it, just that wonder of I can create anything I want. Like I can make things up, I can create my own magical world in a painting. And it was just wonderful. So when I saw the Monterey Bay Aquarium, those big tanks, with the fish, it just took me back to that time. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to paint that.
Beautiful pieces. I love Abundance in orange.
Okay.
And you've named them different colours as they go through. There's an abundance of blue and an abundance of red.
Yeah, because the colour, it's an abstract thing for me. I like it's about the colour.
But I've done a lot of diving, so I understand perfectly
the wonder of it. It's just a magical environment.
It's a three-dimensional place that you're floating around.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's otherworldly, and it almost gives you permission to imagine things that you haven't seen yet.
Yes. Okay, well, we've put up another piece, and I can see that you've actually done a lot of the stripes, so that we can move along. Where do we go from here?
So I blocked those in. I've just started them. There's a lot of tinkering I still want to do with those stripes because I don't want the lines to catch my eye. I want it to be about here. So I quickly put in some of the sunflower as well, just to see if I had the right sort of colors going on, and if I need to mute them down or what I need to do. So I'll be tinkering with these stripes all the way through. So this is just the initial layer. So I'm going to start with the painting, and I think I might start with a shadow with a vase. Let me see. Maybe the vase. So we want to start with the cooler part of the vase there. few little blues. Just create a shadow white, really. If I don't like that, that's fine. We can change it later, so let's see how that looks. So I do use quite a bit of the safflower oil, not too much, but maybe a drop in each color as a medium, and it gives it quite a nice shine. It cuts down on my turps quite a bit.
But you tend to leave the underpainting come through as well.
I do, and I will, like around the edges, particularly here, I think I will. And sometimes in it as well, like in the shadow, I might leave some of the underpainting. So there will be blue in this painting when we're done.
And you are also represented by one of the leading contemporary galleries in the area, Jacos Art House in Los Gatos.
Yes, that's right,
which is just sort of across from basically Silicon Valley, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it's in the Los Gatos, which is, you know, part of Silicon Valley, and it's a very contemporary art space in a warehouse, and they do a lot of fun events, evening events, art fairs, you know, pop-up events. Yeah, it's fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's see how that's going to look.
And are those the pieces of the koi, like feeding time, they're actually all done in oils as well?
Yes, these are in oils, yeah. And this is a perfect time for you to see the warm and the cold red. So here I'm doing the alizarin, which is the cold red, for the shadow part of this glass, which is red. And then I'll paint with the warm red where the light is hitting it. It'll make quite a contrast. So now I'm using my Cad Red Deep. Which is going to be here. And so that's sometimes you don't want to be dragging too much paint. I might have to. Pretty much going to do the same thing here again.
Same thing there.
And this one has got a little bit more character. It's bent.
You've got a bent glass.
I have a bent glass.
Yeah, you've got a series of landscapes of the downtown areas as well.
Yes.
And there's one simply called Downtown. I'd say it's probably San Jose.
Yeah.
And it looks like you might have used some of the cold wax in there too.
I know, that was just very thick paint.
Okay.
Yeah, very textural.
Another one that
I'm not shy to use a lot of paint.
I can see that. Another one called just San Jose itself.
Yeah.
Very bright. They almost look like posters. They're amazing.
Yeah, I did the sky yellow. I just feel San Jose is so hot.
And you've got another one, Los Angeles, and that's even worse. In the summertime. It's like 16 lanes of traffic and it's 120 degrees.
That's right. I think to offset my yellow petals, I'm going to need to get a real dark color for the head of the sunflower. So my burnt sienna and my French ultramarine blue gives me my chromatic black.
So are your girls artistically inclined?
My youngest one definitely is. She does a lot of drawing and painting, and she's got a little exhibition going on at the new museum of Los Gatos right now. So she really loves it. And my older one plays viola.
Musically inclined.
Yes. Okay. So this is not my final version of these of this massive hydrangea. It's just the beginning, and then I'll do another couple of layers of slightly different whites on top of that, more directed petals. Yes, I'll get those little pink flowers in now. Let's see how that's going to work.
But it's great to see what you can do just with the colours directly from the tube. I mean, because they're quite vibrant against each other.
They are. And then, of course, I need to make some variation in that. It can't all be high-pitched. There's quite a cluster of them. I'm working up here now because I really want to establish my lighter value, so I'm going to do the background And then once I've done a little bit of everything, I can see how all the colors are working with each other.
Now, you obviously find the gloves, do you do that because of the toxicity, or?
Yes, yeah. You know, I take them off and my hands are clean, so it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then I can also touch the paint, which I can do with my finger, but I have to go wash my hands quite well afterwards. And if you're doing this all day as, you know, your life and your living, it's just quicker and easier to wear the gloves, and cleanup is that much quicker and easier.
We don't end up with cadmium poisoning.
Cadmium poisoning, yeah, with all these yellows are all based in cadmium. All right, so I'm going to start off now with painting my darks. I'm going to do some of these dark leaves. So I'm going to mix some good greens here. Greens are always a challenge. So let's see, we're going to start with some ultramarine blue and a yellow. This is going to be very bright. I'm not sure I'm going to need too much of that. A little too bright, I don't think. Maybe. So let's try for one more. I might try my Viridian here and add some blue, get it really dark. Let's get some more of it, ultramarine and more Viridian. So here I have 3 different greens that I can work with, and I'll see how I feel about them as I start working. If I'm going to be painting, you know, the leaves, I would work dark to light because all those 3 colors are in the same place here. And there's just a massive dark here, which I just want to block in and then see where I'm at.
What person wouldn't want to have one of these on their wall? All right, Leanne, well, we've had an absolutely fantastic day in your studio with you here in San Jose in California, and a beautiful painting to say the least. As you can see, we're just screening up the finished piece at the moment, and it looks spectacular, it really does. But thank you so much for having us in your studio. It's been great.
Oh, thank you for coming. It's been a wonderful experience.
All right, guys, well, another fantastic day in San Jose in California. I'd like to thank Leanne. Thank you so much.
All right,
That was wonderful. We had a great time. As you can see, another one of her beautiful works up here. Very, very talented lady. Now, workshops. If somebody wants to come along and do a workshop with you, and I would suggest, because this is fantastic work, what's your website addresses?
So LeanneHamilton.com or LeanneHamiltonArt.com. All the information will be on there.
Yeah, so come in and say hi to Leanne. If you want some of the work too, just give her a call, because it's really, really beautiful paintings. Also, you can come and see us at colorinyourlife.com.au. Lots of things going on in there. And come and see us at Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. We have literally tens of thousands of people and millions of views these days. So it's just quite fantastic. And until we see you guys again, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you now. Bye.